Get ready to rumble. I've always wanted to say that. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? We cranked this up extra loud so you guys will go deaf while I talk, because I am a loud talker, apparently. All right, we're turning it down a little bit. Sorry. So today I've been asked to not pace. Wow, that's a tough one because I'm a pacer. So I've put my bottle in front of me to make sure I don't walk forward that much. So at least this way I'll do a lot of sidestepping. But it'll be helpful, I guess, to keep a better focus on what we're doing. So welcome, everybody, to our 44th event. This is also including our Up Series talks, which we do in Durham. So we've merged those together with Frank coming on board to OPN. So now we've hit that larger number, but I think today is actually our 30th pitch event, so our 30th show, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So you can see all the great things that we've been doing. Lots of different areas for us to work together and talk. So this is our 5th session here at York. We work in different spots with Seneca College, with York University, with Y Spaces, and which is where we're at today. And we also work and facilitate in different regions like Durham, Toronto, and our keynote, or I guess our big show that we have is PitchIt TO City Hall. And that runs on May 15th. So for you guys, for all the exciting stuff about social, please post, tweet, all that good stuff. It always helps us draw a little more attention and attraction to you guys. So we welcome all of that good stuff. So at PitchIt, at OPN, what we do is we want you guys to spend less time trying to find money and more time growing your business. And that's kind of what our whole mantra has been around since we started this, is that we know it's tough growing a business. And if you have to spend all your time trying to find money early on, you're not driving the sales, which drives your business. And that's kind of key to everything you do. So for the Want More section, all the good things that we are doing, as I mentioned, we have PitchIt TO next week, which is on April 19th, and that's at 251 Queen Street East. It starts at the same time. Actually, I think we start a little bit earlier there. 5:30, we open the doors, and we start off at 6. It's a great space at University in Queens, so come check it out. And again, we have 3 startups and 3 great advisors. On the 25th, we have our Up Sales talk in Durham, which we talked about, which is in Whitby, and that starts at 8 a.m. And I know you guys are interested to learn sales, so it's a great spot to come. Just don't stay out too late the night before. They're all on the meetup, but they're also on opn.ninja, so you can get the dates and details from there. And you can sign up for our email list, and we will add all those details in when you sign up for it. The next big one, as we mentioned, we have PitchIt TO City Hall, which is pretty exciting. We have 3 startups and a panel. The panel usually consists, we started it last time, we had a couple of people that had sold their business and were raising new money in Canada, in Toronto, which is a great insight. They provided a lot of great value, so it's certainly something to come out and listen to. We'll probably have something around the same aspects of how do I find money and get money in Toronto for my startup. And then we have all the other great dates coming up as well. So the next Up Series talk, which is going to be, as I mentioned, on the 25th, it's going to be with Pavel, who runs and operates a legal firm and also is integrated into Osgoode Hall at the law school. So he's a lot of great insights, and he's going to provide a great discussion for you guys to attend if you got the time. All in negotiations, and we all know we can be better on negotiating and beating up partners, right? So something else that's come up that's pretty cool that they were working on, and this is with Frank, is that it's going to be running in the Durham region. It's called Up Next, and it's from June 4th to the 27th. And what we do is you bring in, and we'll call it a cohort, but there's a lot of, I'm not sure the total number yet, but I think there's, how many? 18 days hack course at putting together everything you need to know about running and building a business. And there's a lot of great partners that tie into that to help you to do that. So if you guys have an interest, Frank's your guy to talk to. And it's very free, very free. So some of the companies that we've been working with, some of these brands you might recognize, some of them might be you, but at the end of the day, these are some of the great companies that we've been working with over the last couple years, and we hope to keep adding more onto it. So to thank everybody that's helped us get here, we do want to thank, and I think we should start off by even with the OPN team. So Brian, Laura, Katrina, Frank, Angelo, everybody for helping out. So let's give them a round because they rock. And some of our partners that we've had, Flow Water, my marker on the floor, they've been with us since day one, which is a great company that's out of Toronto, and they've been making leaps and bound growth, so they're pretty exciting. Clear Vision, which is out of the Durham region, design firm, strategic, great partner that just came on board. Miller Thompson is one of our legal partners, and they've been on with us almost since day one, so they've been a big supporter of how we're helping inside the ecosystem. And of course, Hardboot, my software company, they've been helping too a little bit, so yeah. All right, and then the associate side, we have a lot of great companies that are part of the mix from the Blockchain Fortress, which is a startup company that we've been working with since day one, which has been, I think they're about a year old, but they've been working with us on another business that they own, which is software hosting, and they've been doing that with us for 5 years, so they're a great partner. York Angels, Startup York, which is Lucas, and he's going to speak to you guys later today and give you a little bit more insight about what he does and how he runs and operates the York Syndicate in the York region, so he's awesome. And then Seneca Helix and YSpace for all of their help in the York region as well. So awesome. A little bit about me, Jeffrey. You guys can find me on LinkedIn. Next. All right, so the team. That's why we're all here. But the team that also supports OPN and has been a big, huge help is, first we have Angelo Del Duca, which is one of your advisors. Great guy. He's been in around the startup business for about... Just got here a few days, but he's been around the system and helping startups for a good chunk of time, and brings a lot of insight from also being a York Angel and helping startups is kind of his day job, and actually your after day job too, whatever that's called. His hustle, side hustle, is helping startups. Now we have Frank Odino, who also is an angel investor in York, sold a company a few years back, and he has been also working the daytime, working with startups, and side hustle is startups. So one of the cool things that we're doing at OPN is we're always trying to morph and grow and find different ways to connect with the community. So one of the businesses that we're working with is called Textbox. And Textbox is a company by Taiwu. Where is he? Where is he? He's hiding. All right, so he's in the back. He's a great guy, and he's got a cool business that we're working with. And the way this is all going to work is that we're tying this in with a couple of other businesses as we go. One of them is an event specialist company, and the other one is a token-based system. So we're trying to figure out how we can tie all these systems together. They're all startups, so that we can help them, and they're going to help us tie things and move them forward. So if you guys can all do me a favor, it's no cost to you, but you can text OPN to 93411. And what is this going to do for you and do for us? Well, what it does is it allows us to communicate with you guys a little bit more and send you guys the odd message that says, hey, we're running PitchIt City Hall. Here's a great event, or here's something that might be of interest to you guys. But it's a way for us to stay in contact with you and provide you guys some great value, and you can respond back. And we have the back-end system that's going to allow us to be able to interact and answer any questions. You might have a question about your startup or something you're looking to do in your startup, and that's one way to get a hold of us real quick, and we'll be able to get onto it and respond. And it gives us a little bit of information about you, and you guys know everything about us, so it's a great way for us to bond and connect. So I'm not leaving this page until we have a number of everybody in here doing it. I'm just kidding. For like 5 minutes. I'm going to pace now. You guys done? Everybody text? All right. Okay, so for the pitch format, how does it work? we try to mirror exactly what happens in an angel investment. What does that mean? In an angel investment, when you pitch at York, Durham, or Spark, Pran, GTAN, which is made up of Angel 1, Northwest Angels, and Karen's group, which is Angel 1. So all of these groups all operate the same way. They provide you with a window where you go in and pitch your business. So in this case, you have 11 to 12 minutes. We've picked a round number of 11 minutes. Why? We like 11 minutes. You get enough information out, you can talk about your business, share the details, build a communication, build a bond. So when you go to an angel meeting to pitch, you don't have to change anything. It's exactly what you need in order to get in front of them. So we've timed it so it's 11 minutes. Then we have 1 minute from each advisor. The reason why we do 1 minute unsolicited, you can't talk back. You just take the information, nod your head, say thank you, because at the end of the day, we'd be here for a very long time trying to answer all the questions and comments that they make. And again, we want to set it up so that the advisors are able to give you some feedback, and then you have an interest to go and speak to them again, because you want to follow up on the details. So it creates a conversation piece between you and the angel that's speaking to you. And then we do 5 minutes of QA from the community. Why do we go to the community? Because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones buying the product. You're the ones that are going to use this system at some point in time, and the best feedback you can get is from the people that are going to be using it. So it's a great way to build community around your product as well. Some of the things that people ask about, and it's something I'll touch base on quickly, is if you're an angel investor, how does that work? Why should I invest? How can I invest? So these are all different streams. People always have questions about, you know, just because I see a pitch, what if I want to invest in them? So there are criteria that work and allow you to be an angel investor. Those are all set up by the government. They're easy to talk to. But at the end of the day, if it's something that interests you and you want to work with the startup or pitch and be able to invest in them, those things are all feasible and something that you can orchestrate and talk to. And it would be going directly to the startup and speaking to them, or come to us and we can help facilitate that next steps. So there is a way to be on both sides of the fence, either a startup or an investor. Drop your business cards off so we can do a draw and everybody can win a sick t-shirt, because who doesn't like t-shirts? So, to start off, we have Antonio, or Tony Martino. And Tony brings 30 years of sales experience. He's a York Angel investor, and he's got a lot of great insights on how businesses operate, especially from the sales side. So we welcome Tony. Russ Montague, who I met a few years ago, a great guy, has a lot of insight in startups, especially because he built a startup from nothing, as we all obviously did, and he grew it up to be massive, which we all don't get to do. And he was able to sell and exit the company, and now he's working, doing lots of strategic things in the Durham region. So we welcome Russ. And Angelo, well, we don't need to talk about Angelo again, but Angelo is a great advisor and has a lot of insight and works with a couple hundred startups every day. So he's got a lot of insight, so we welcome you again, Angelo. So today, who's pitching? We have Shift Ride, CavTech, and Seam. And these guys are going to kick some butt. Oh, gone too far. All right, so let's kick it off. So first one up, CavTech.
About to do a karaoke session. Do you want me to? I don't think you want me to.
Yeah, do it. And we'll critique.
Give me a number. Welcome to The Voice. This is not The Voice. All right, you're on. Good.
Hi guys, my name's Alex.
And I'm Sanu. We're the co-founders of CavTech. Thanks, Frank, Jeff, for having us here.
Previous to CavTech, I was selling real estate full-time in Peterborough, and in the spring of 2017, so just last year, I was out with clients of mine, and they had a very difficult wish list to fulfill, so we're out looking for a house for them. Found them a great spot, suited most of their needs, but they felt that there was a lack of counter space in the house. So as any realtor trying to close the sale would, I suggested they just have an island installed in. And I could see they were considering this, but they wanted to go home and imagine how this change would really look. They just had trouble visualizing it there and then. So CavTech is a platform designed for real estate agents and their home buyers and sellers to have an interactive real estate experience together. It bridges the imagination with reality.
So we're located in Peterborough at the Innovation Cluster. We have a growing team of 8, and we were founded in 2017. When Alex and I came together in 2017, we realized that there were many problems within the industry, in real estate itself. So I'm sure a lot of you have staged a home before you bought it. And the toughest thing is with buying a home is it's tough to visualize yourself living there. And you could stage a home to appeal to a retired couple, but a family moving in with kids, they're not going to picture a nursery in that house. So imagination was one of the biggest problems.
Leads was another problem. Generating and then capturing leads is difficult in any business. It's especially difficult in real estate because the competition's so high. So first you have to find a qualified lead, and then you have to convert them, which usually means offering something of value to them. So you add something to your service that they find valuable in order for them to work with you.
Technology. Every brand today is trying to reach to millennials, and real estate is no different. But there hasn't been any real tech advancements in the industry. The home buyer or seller today is very tech savvy, and the option is pretty much a website going to look at houses. So today we want to share with you what CavTech is. CavTech is 3 different platforms in the class of real estate technologies.
A lead generation tool.
A home remodeling tool.
And a communication tool.
So this is all 3 different tools on one platform. And Alex will give you a quick demo on how it works.
So this is a view on an iPad. So this is a client using CavTech. So you can see you can select from a database of furniture. And when you select a piece of furniture, it appears to scale, to size right in front of you. So it takes into account the shadows, the texture, and then from there you can move the furniture around. So you can basically stage a whole room this way. You can also change wall colors, and you can see it takes into account the lighting, and it has edge detection. So it's really a true representation of what that color change would be on the wall. You can change flooring, so you can see the original floor here. You select the points, and then you can see a more modern flooring. You can change the grain so that it gives a seamless look. So the idea is that you're able to see what you're imagining before you go out and make that commitment. So these are all flooring options from Lowe's. There's laminate, hardwood, tile, carpet. It's very user-friendly. And that was on an iPad, but it can be used on your phone as well. So Pokemon Go, is everyone here familiar with Pokemon Go? Last year when this came out, it was really the world's first big mass introduction to augmented reality, and this is the space that we're in. Within 3 months, Pokemon Go generated over $600 million in revenue, so it was very well received. So you can think of CavTech like Pokemon Go for real estate.
So what's augmented reality? Augmented reality is when you use your device. Let's say you use your iPad. It detects the floor right in front of you. Then you're able to place 3D digital objects in that space. So when you look through your device, it's almost as if that object appears right in front of you. Now, this market we're in, the augmented reality software market, last year was valued at $3.5 billion. In the next 5 years, it's projected to grow to $35 billion. Why? The major drivers of this market is Apple and Google, because they're enabling their devices, so your iPhone, your iPad, your Android devices, to run augmented reality software such as us. Now, within the industry, we've identified who our target market is.
There are over 2 million real estate agents in North America. 100,000 of those realtors are in Canada. Last year, there were over 6 million homes sold, and 500,000 of those sales took place right here in Canada. So this app is perfect for the real estate agent and home buyer and seller that's very comfortable and familiar on their device. So they're checking their emails on their iPad, they're doing their banking on their phone, they're used to personalized apps and instant information and customizable options.
Our channel partners are national companies, so they're furniture companies, flooring, paint, cabinet companies. Now, these companies have a national reach. So if you see their product on our platform, you're able to either buy the product online, have it shipped to your house, or walk into a physical store and buy the product from that store. Within this target market, we've already made many valuable connections.
So we have a partnership with Remax Integra. Remax Integra is the largest sub-franchisor in the entire Remax system worldwide. So any Remax office that you see in Ontario and Atlantic Canada, is owned by Remax Integra. So we have exclusive access to all their events, along with their other partners, TD Bank, TELUS Mobility, Genesis Motors. We no longer have to go and track down each individual agent and sell them our product. We have an in with all of these offices now, so we have scheduled demo days and webinars that are going to take place. And in July, that partnership with Remax is going to extend nationwide to Remax West.
We also have Lowe's. So all the flooring that you saw on our platform is from Lowe's. So any product that you saw on our platform, you can visit their online store right through our app and buy the product, or you can visit one of their stores and buy one of their flooring as well.
We've identified further partners that we're in talk with right now with the decision makers, of these companies, and we'll be seeing partnerships come to play in the coming months. And potential partners that we've identified are other big real estate brokerages, Royal LePage, Century 21, all with over 100,000 agents, furniture companies, and major home renovation companies.
So we've made many valuable connections within the industry, but I mean, we're a tech company. We're not alone in this space. We've split up our competition into AR shopping, social, and virtual staging. What differentiates CavTech with all these other companies is, one, we have a network effect. We're bringing in real estate agents and their home buyers and sellers onto one platform. And the other thing is we have a differentiated technology. Now, AR shopping, they offer, you can buy their products, they're just furniture. But we're bringing in the entire home remodeling tool onto our platform.
So CavTech, it's specifically tailored for the real estate agents. So that's another great way that we stand out. When their clients are using this application, it's branded with that realtor's brand, their name, their contact information. So again, it's generating leads. So our main business model is our SaaS-based model, and it's $28 a month. So for $28 a month, the real estate agent has access to all of these features, and they can extend this app to their buyers and sellers, and they have access to all these features as well. We've white labeled the product for a monthly subscription for businesses that are interested in the technology. Our channel partners are paying us an affiliate commission, and then we'll be selling advertising space on the app as well.
So with the 4 revenue streams that CavTech has, the projections for this year is out of the 17,000 agents within the Remax system, we're looking at acquiring 5,000 users. And by 2019, there's more than 100,000 agents in Canada. We're looking at acquiring 25,000 of those users. By 2020, we will scale out to North America. Out of the 2.2 million agents, we're looking at acquiring 85,000 users. With a SaaS-based model, we're looking at generating $100 million in revenue in the next 5 years, and then exiting with being acquired for 5 to 10x that revenue. We already know identified companies that would acquire us because of the network effect, because our platform brings together real estate agents and home buyers and sellers to one platform, and that's the true value.
So we're raising $400,000, and within the last 4 weeks, we've raised 25% of that, and the money is going to be used for sales and marketing, research, and product development. So the feedback that we're receiving from the agents that we're in beta right now, they want to see things like countertops, cabinetry, so product updates.
So we are running a tech company. Alex has 7 years of experience in real estate, and I have sales experience myself, but we need a tech team to pull all this off, and our tech team has a diverse background in augmented reality, virtual reality, and they bring all this experience to help us scale to become a nationwide brand. Thank you.
Job. Steal that from me. Angelo, do you want to start?
I look so tiny between the sandwich here. Yeah. You have to live with what God gives you. So great presentation. I actually like the synergy between the two of you as you're going through the presentation. So kudos on that. I did have a few points that I think you might want to take a look at. In your pitch, you talk about the AR market and how large it is. I think you should really narrow it down in focusing on your specific portion of that AR marketplace, in addition to the real estate and all of the other elements. So to tie all of those in, I'd like to see a better fit there, okay? I think you have a really good pipeline that you identified in there. You might want to also identify at what stage all of those partners are at in your pipeline. And also, I didn't get a sense, but maybe it was because of my sense of insecurity sitting between these two gentlemen. I didn't see where your current revenues were at this stage. And also, I didn't get a sense of how you would scale to that $100 million plateau within the 5 years. So if you can tie all of those things, I think you have a great story.
So, I've got to echo some of Angelo's statements. I mean, augmented reality, right? It's really focused on video gaming right now. So I think I would narrow that down into what you guys are doing in your space. But, I do have a few things. You didn't talk about CPA at all. So I have no clue what it's going to cost you to get that $100 million. It's going to cost you $200 million. I actually don't know. The other thing, too, is, when you're talking about a $100 million company, because you use that number, I'm going to, I got my company to $100 million annually. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because it was an absolute miracle. And it near killed me. It caused a divorce. I lost all my friends. Like, it's a terrible situation. You actually don't want to get a company to $100 million if you want to, be happy. So the reality is, when you're throwing out a number like that, you better really know what you're saying, because that is a tough, tough mountain to climb. And to do it in 5 years, there's a handful of companies, and I know them all because we're one of them. And, not to say that you guys aren't going to do that, but there's nothing wrong with saying, like, hey, we're going to get to 20 million or, something along those lines. You don't have to be billionaires overnight. You can have just a really solid, company. You talk at the beginning about, chat and leads and, how the app allows you to place furniture around, but then really the presentation only goes into the furniture and placing it and changing the wall color and whatnot. I think you need to really focus on what it is that this app is going to stand out, because the chatting feature and all, it's like, are they going to use that? Aren't they going to use that? If really they're coming in here to use your app to place a bunch of crap all over the house and, hey, I can live here and this is what it's going to look like, that's really cool. And I think people would really do that. And as someone who's bought a lot of property, I would definitely use that. Do I think that my agent would chat with another agent on that? I don't know, because I see them they text, they do the normal way. So I don't know if they need a new way of going about that. Other than that, I think that it is definitely really cool. I think you really need to figure out how you're going to get those users. It's tough to get people to adapt to anything. So, and there are other, Home Depot has something that lets you change the wall color, and there are other companies. And I think my last point is furniture changes at a rapid rate. So it concerns me a little how you're going to constantly be 3D rendering all this furniture at a just non-stop. What's in today is not in tomorrow. My fiance constantly changes our house, so I know this, we all laugh, but I've spent a ton of money at furniture stores. So you guys would probably be spending a lot of money in constantly getting the newest furniture on there. So I think it's just something you're going to want to think about.
Ditto. So the gentlemen have mentioned a lot of things that I would have touched on. So I also had a real issue trying to figure out what your current revenues are. And I don't know if it was just a time constraint that you guys are working with, but I felt bombarded. So I found it very difficult to follow the presentation. So sometimes less is more. So I would streamline it a little bit, because if it's old farts like Angelo and me investing, I'm going to have a little bit of a hard time wrapping my head around what you're trying to sell. So if you could simplify it a little bit, I think it'll resonate a little bit more. I was also concerned about the content and keeping up with that component of it. But I also think you're selling yourself short on the promotional aspect of it. So I'm thinking if you go to Lowe's and tell them that it costs them $450 for you to sell their product, I'll sign on right away, because really, that's one sale. So you're doing a lot of the sales work for them without them having to do it. So I think you might want to consider on taking that value up, simply because, the old adage is, and I've been in sales a long time, if it's free, it has no value. It's almost free. So take it up a little bit, right? And the same thing with, and I know it's probably an adoption thing right now with the $28 for a real estate agent, but that's a blip for them. The other thing too is, it was mentioned here about the placing furniture. If you can somehow get to a point where it has a slightly more robust remodeling feature, then I think you got something with some impact. I think it's excellent. It just, I need to envision not the color of my floor, but what a total remodel might look like. And I think, because that's what people do, right? They walk in, they gut it. Okay, if I'm going to gut it, what might it look like? So those are my comments.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys will have to share a mic on the answering questions. All right, who has a question?
You guys do like an affiliate links that you sell from like Lowe's? Do you take a percentage from that sale, or how does that work? They just give you a flat fee?
Exactly, yeah. We get a commission from Lowe's. We got a furniture partner signed up. We just didn't put them on here, not public yet, but we get a kickback every time there's a sale redirected to their company. And we get access to the API, so all the furniture is on our platform through their API.
So this might be a hard question. They asked it. I'm going to give you a chance to answer. How much are you guys making?
We're in beta, pre-revenue.
Okay.
So I have a question about your product. So there are different types of houses, right? So how many % of time does your product work for different have you tested your product, and how many % of time does it work?
So ideally, when we first started doing this, we would go into brokerages and explain what was going on, and the realtors were just learning about the product. They all thought it had to be in an empty room to place the furniture. This was actually before we even had the flooring on the app. So ideally, if you're going to be using the furniture, yes, if you have a vacant house, an empty room, it's best to do that. Eventually, the tech will allow us to, some of you might be familiar with DR, so diminishing reality, when you could take away a wall or take away a block of cabinetry, but you have to be able to stitch that space together, right? So it's just not that simple. So you can still place furniture when there is furniture in the room. You can paint the walls, no problem. It has, is it 8 algorithms, I think, with the edge detection? Like, it's quite complicated, so it's not just going to blank paint the entire walls. It takes into account the windows, and it will paint around all of that. Same with the flooring, the way we went back and forth on what the best way to lay the flooring would be. So we do it with the points so that you can outline the spaces that you want to outline, and then you can place furniture on top of the flooring, no problem.
Okay, another question?
Not fair. I was wondering, you mentioned like on the user side, mainly on how many real estate agents that you will be acquiring. How many of the clients, like that on the flip side, like the chicken and egg, which do you aim to target and be able to become users on your platform to match that and translate that into actual leads? Do you understand?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand completely. Do you?
So basically a double-sided market. So how are you generating, and how many of the partners and facilities are you going to bring on the one side? And then how do you go out and get everybody on the other side, which is customers, to use it? So it's kind of, I guess in a way, it's a double-sided market. So what are your goals, and how do you feel you can achieve those? Is that right?
Okay, so I think I can answer the real estate side of things. So we didn't really get into this too much, just given the time constraints, but as the real estate agent paying the $28, they're subscribing to the application, and then they can extend it to an unlimited number of their clients. And when the client receives it, it's not branded with CavTech, it's branded with their logo, their name and everything. So that's a main incentive for the realtor to subscribe, not just to be able to stage a room, but also just for lead generation. It's like a virtual business card almost. And then there was another point I was going to make. It's just left my mind there. But is there anything you want to add to that?
I know it.
And then on the partnership side, you've talked about different partners, which means that you've got to get the furniture, you've got to get all of the flooring. How many partners do you need to go out to the market to get into your product to make sure that your product is viable, not oversaturated with a million products, but helps them visualize better what they're trying to achieve inside the home?
Right. This might be jumping the gun a little bit too much, but with the furniture, so we're partnering with a furniture company. We're not going to say who it is, but we can plug into their API and upload all of their furniture, and they do free shipping, so that's great with that. do you want to talk about the AI a little bit? Because that is an issue with staging. If you're going to be staging a room, how long are you going to stand there and go through all of the couches, all of the furniture, all of the chairs? So we're in talks with the university to look into some artificial intelligence and bring that into play. I mean, that's down the road, but...
No, I think, yeah. So with channel partners, we already have partners on board. We're already in beta. So we've been in market for about a month and a half. In May, we're pushing a big update out with a press release with the big partnership with the furniture company. And we have the partners in place to already get into market and roll it out.
Okay, one last one.
So are you relying on your partners and the real estates to help you introduce the platform to the actual users, the end users?
So that is our go-to-market strategy. I mean, our user is a real estate agent, and their user is their client, right? So when the agent subscribes, that's our go-to-market strategy. The agent subscribes, and then they extend it out to all their clients. That is essentially our go-to-market strategy. So we wouldn't market right to the end consumer. Our market would be to the real estate agent.
And one last comment. From a statistics standpoint, in the month and a half, how have you guys fared out so far?
Oh, amazing. We've got so much feedback. We have over 5 brokerages signed up, running a beta with us right now, and in May it'll be open to all of Ontario, all of RE/MAX, but we might scale sooner than we thought, so yeah.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Seam, you're up.
Thank you very much for coming down. Thank you to the panel for making the time. Ready to go? Oh. On February 12th this year, Joshua Thede, a rideshare driver, was kidnapped and went missing in California. He was gone for a week and nobody knew what had happened to him. The last piece of data that everybody knew was that he tried to make a phone call, and unfortunately, trying to make a phone call wasn't enough for anybody to actually help him. A week later, he was found unconscious, and he was taken to a hospital, and he had amnesia with no recollection of what happened. Had he been able to try and record what had happened or stream what had happened, he might have had a better time and it might have been found sooner. My name's Drew Henson, and I'm from Seam. We're a personal safety technology company working on mobile technology and wearable tech. The problem we're trying to solve is that the world is uncertain for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, race, age, gender, whether you're an Uber driver, a student, the world is uncertain and things happen. And the current solutions for these problems are very one-dimensional. It's a lot of, I share my GPS location, and it's a lot of fashionable devices that also just share your GPS location. We took a look at the situation and realized we can do better, much better. Our solution is 3 parts, and instead of being a one-dimensional solution, the first starts with recording contextual data. Our unique selling point is we want to record more than just one dimension of where you are, but in addition to that, what you can see and what you can hear. And if you can conveniently transfer that data to somebody, they can have context about what's happening to you without you having to explain it. In addition to that, we want to be able to stream and log this data in the cloud anywhere in the planet, and we want to be able to get it out quickly. And if the local device does go missing, the data is still intact and stored into the cloud. Third, we want to connect with different wearable devices, not just one, but we want to have the brand that everything connects to, the platform that really works going forward. And we have the wearable strategy that I will demonstrate to you. Why am I here? My name's Drew Henson. I have been designing hardware for over 8 years. I used to be the director of products for an action camera company out of London, designing action cameras for drift, several on market, hundreds of thousands of units deployed already. One of the highlights was working with NASA to get my cameras cleared for the International Space Station, as well as winning several design awards and working with my team to deliver in 41 countries products. The team that I put together for this specifically is an extension of my product design studio, as well as a hardware team for working on firmware, electrical engineering internally, software development we have a full team for, a very experienced VP of marketing, sales, a data analytics agency, which I'll explain where they come in, PR, several full-time internal members, junior industrial designers, mechanical engineers, customer support, and app testing, of course, has to be internal, as well as distribution when we expand to Europe later down the road. Our initial launch strategy will be North America. So our app, how does it work? Instead of listing all of the great features, I'm going to just run you quickly through how it works. So when you start and you open the app, you open on the home screen, which locates where you are. You add up to 5 people that care about you. This is all about empowering peace of mind for those that you care about and care about you. So for me, it's my brother, my girlfriend, my mom. What I can then do is I can select one of them, or I can select all of them to initiate recording a log and sharing that log. What happens at that moment is my phone will start recording the GPS location. It'll start taking images from the front and back camera, one after the other, and it will start recording all the audio and synchronizing this to my location, creating a rich log that then gets stored instantly in the cloud. This log is also able to be streamed live anywhere on the planet, so if I'm walking home, something's happening to me, I can flick it on. The first wearable that we are integrating into this device is called the Lotus. The Lotus has a built-in microphone and speaker, and it is really a panic button, a communicator, and a remote control. It allows me to completely remotely control the app. It allows me to initiate and have all the audio recorded from where the device is if my phone's tucked away. Maybe I'm being active, maybe it's not safe to bring my phone out. This is a great way to start the system. It also allows me to hit it, hold it. The app will figure out which of my contacts and my guardians is closest to me, and it will initiate a two-way hands-free phone call to them. Now I'm situationally aware, and I can have a full conversation with them. Google really liked the ability of the microphone and speaker and called us up, and they're helping us integrate Google Assistant across our entire platform. So now I also have a social tool where I can tap it, have my full voice assistant, make meetings, make calls, and I can fully control the app as well. Not just basic commands that come from Google, but we put in the research and dev time to do full voice commands of our entire system as well. The device is meant to be clipped on, but one of our big ethoses is designing gender-neutral products and gender-neutral designs. In North America, a lot of these types of products have been typically targeted towards women only. The problem with that is out of 300,000 violent crimes that happen every year, the gender distribution is actually 51% female, but 49% male. So while they are 10 times more likely to be the victims of sexual harassment, men are just as likely to be the victims of crime, including bodily harm. And I felt that they deserve to have a solution made tailored to them as well. So you can clip it on, you can put it in a necklace, you can wear it in a bracelet, easily accessible. You just clip it in, clip it out, and you don't need too much other fuss. The device itself comes in this charging case. It has 8 hours of standby time on its own, and it goes over to 30 hours when it's inside the case. We were at CES this year, where we won the Most Innovative Wearable Award, and we've also been nominated this year for an Edison Award, which we did not win. Okay, so how do we make money off of all this? Well, the app, when it comes out, will be free for downloading. Your logs will be stored for 24 hours for free. At that point in time, they'll disappear. For $5 a month on average, with different subscription terms, your logs will be stored for up to 3 months, and you can download the logs. So those still images will get synchronized up, lined up, synchronized with the audio, and it will export a movie for you to be able to download of your log and of your journey. The device itself will retail for $119 when it comes out in June, and we have an array of accessories that will also come with it to bump up our margins. Who are we targeting with this system? And this is a bit of a complex question for us, because the reason being, we're trying to target the modern family as the whole, and that's with our entire platform and our entire roadmap strategy, but you can't obviously go after everybody. In the world, there's about 2.3 billion people outside of China because we can't bypass their firewall for our system, unfortunately, who have an iOS and Android phone. These people are potential clients of ours. However, we can't target all of them. So we look a little bit more normal, a little bit more local, and we start to target North America only. We still have over 248 million users. These are very realistic numbers. In our market segment, there's a company called Life360. They have over 50 million active users, and they're all about social connection, just sharing GPS location to each other. So there is an appetite for this sort of product. We want to target initially rideshare drivers. There's over 1 million of them in North America, and they will be our beachhead market segment. When we look at a rideshare driver, his phone is optimally placed already on his dashboard to make use of a free system that allows him now to tell his own version of the story of anything that goes down in his ride, something that would be equivalent of having to buy an expensive dash cam, which, generally speaking, from the people we've talked to, they're not prepared to do. So the C mobile app is already out now. It's been out for since January in full release form. We've had over 35% growth month over month for users and for downloads. We have almost approaching 200 registered users now, and it's growing very fast, and this is without having our marketing strategy deployed full yet. This was in testing, this was in word of mouth, and now we're about to launch our marketing spend. Next is we bring out the wearable device. We have 4 separate markets that we are personas that we believe are very attractive for this device. However, I don't want my ego to decide which one we're going to target. We are working with Triangle's data analytics agency in order to go through these personas, feed them content into the wild, and be able to gauge who our most engaged user is based on their content consumption patterns. And that's where we look in June when we launch the Lotus to start prioritizing our customer segments. After this, we are already in development of our second wearable with a major cell phone carrier, and we already have secured the partnerships with Qualcomm in order to develop the tech we need to develop an always-on GPS tracking device that connects directly to the cell network with about a 1-month battery life. We will make one device that works for pets, kids, and bags. You can put it all together. You can pick it out of one, put it in another. Then we're going to open the API for our platform. This allows us to do things very interesting. Like, let's say somebody has an EpiPen. I can take out an EpiPen from a Bluetooth-connected case, and as soon as I take it out to fire it off, now potentially my mom has been notified that I'm having an allergic reaction, where I am, and she can also have the context of that situation. You could do something very similar with diabetic bracelets and all the heart rate monitors that are out there. Every single one of those users can now be a potential subscriber of ours. We will also release smartwatch apps. We want to have the platform. We want to be the go-to brand for this system, and we don't want to have users on board. We don't want to fight against technology that we can just have be a part of our system. And finally, an always-on streaming camera. This isn't it. This is a previous design of mine, but that will also connect straight to the cell phone network, allowing you to broadcast what you need to live. Revenue-wise, if we are able to sell 1,000 of each device that we have out in the next 5 years, we'll be a $20 million company. And if we are able to sell 5,000 units a month, we'll be a $100 million company after 5 years. I have bootstrapped the company until now. It took me about 1 year and 2 months to get functioning hardware, functioning software out, and now I'm looking to raise another $1 million to get us going forward for the next 12 months, to release the current Lotus in June with stock, with a proper marketing budget, as well as develop the second device in total and deploy that over the next year. And we have 90% subscribed, and we're looking for the last 10% still. Thank you very much for your time.
Good job. Perfect. All right. Tony, you want to start?
Sure. You kept the wireless one.
Yep. And I'm timing you 1 minute.
Great. Excellent product. One of the questions I have about the actual solution is I actually have to initiate it and get it running, so it's running all the time. If we look at kind of what's going on with these days with our friends at Facebook, I think privacy is going to become a bigger issue. I understand you're only putting it out to families, but you know, still a concern because teenagers aren't going to want their parents to know where they are all the time, including with the GPS thing. Not sure if you're looking to go into the seniors market, but I guess they probably don't have a lot of cell phones with them. The other thing that would be interesting, and I don't know if I just missed it, but it'd be nice if the wearable initiates the app so that when I push it, it initiates the app and gets it going. Is that the thing? Okay, fair enough. And the only other concern is, or question is really, what kind of drain does it have on battery life? Because if I'm plugged in my car, that's fine. But if I'm walking around, is it going to suck the battery dry in 2 hours, which then renders it? And one more thing, sorry that I had. Let me get this. I'll get back to it if I think about it. But it's excellent. I think it's needed. That's for sure.
So you stole some of my thunder, but I'll add on it. So privacy was something that really jumped out at me. And today, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg was asked the question, so which hotel did you stay last night? And his response was, I'm not going to tell you. And he fell into the trap in all of those questions. So privacy does really become an issue. I'm more concerned about in the Uber application, you've got the video on. So as the driver, I can opt in at doing that, but the passenger hasn't been given the chance to opt in. And when it's resident on the cloud, it may be an issue. So it's something that you just need to deal with and work out some opt-in mechanism. I haven't started yet. I've got 12 more. Just on the money side, you had the ask, 90% committed, didn't provide the cap value, which is really important. Also, on that point, what are your costs and your margins on your products? As an investor, I'd like to see those elements so you can grow it to a $100 million business, but actually, how much money are you going to make based on the cost of the manufacturing and distribution? And there's a bunch more, but we can chat later. I really like it, and kudos on the CES award.
Slick presentation. Obviously, you know what you're doing. You've done this a ton of times. I could tell, and kudos to that. It's a cool product. Looks really, really nice. I don't have a lot to add that these guys haven't already said. My biggest concern was obviously your data and your battery life being used. I don't love that you have to open the app and sort of start it in order to use it, but I don't think there's any way around that. That's basically how apps work, right? I mean, if you can get over that hurdle, that'd be pretty cool. There's this weird juxtaposition of people like putting tape over their cameras and all that stuff, and yet you're going the opposite route. But I get it. You might want to bone up the presentation a little bit more to be a little more fearful of what's going on, especially with everything that's just happened with Facebook. Fear sells, and I would really start to play that up. The other thing too is I don't love that you're doing it for free, like people can download it for free. I would just charge right away. I'm a huge fan of subscriptions. So, I think people will just buy into this. If they can get it for free, they'll never pay. If you can just make them pay from the beginning, even if it's 99 cents a month, I would go there. The wind chimes are playing me off, so I think that's... the only other thing I would say is I would love to see you guys walk a little more before you run. You've only got 200 users, and you're already into launching the technology part of it, the actual device. I'd love to see you get to 10,000 users before you do that, but I have no doubt you'll be successful here.
Thanks, guys.
I remembered my thing. Can I just? I'll put it in the form of a question. So. Yes, Tony. So the one question that I had is, I'm a user, and I'm cheap, and I don't subscribe to your 1-month cloud service. Something happens, it's in the cloud, for some odd reason I don't have access to that in 24 hours, you wipe it clean. Are you leaving yourself open to some sort of liability because the incident report or the thing that could have helped me is now wiped clean? So I don't know if you've thought of it, but if you have, I'd like to know kind of how you would handle that.
So in our privacy policy, even though your access has been removed after 24 hours, we keep it on the cloud servers for another 48 in the event that somebody wants to reach out after and get access to it.
And then that system keeps it on that system for about 2 years. That's how it all works, man. Just kidding. That's not what he's doing. But, all right, next question.
A really good product. I think, is there any chance for you to maybe connect with the police, for example? I mean, if something really went down, I'd maybe not my mom or my dad, I guess, maybe just someone who can actually do something, maybe like the police or a security company maybe or something.
Yeah. So in the actual app, that third button, that's the red one, and it's for phone calls. And what we call a smart phone call in our system is when you make a call initiated from the app, it uses the native phone app, but it kicks off GPS tracking in the background. So while you make that call, your GPS location is still shared with your guardians. And what you can do on Android is you can have it auto-populate the number for 911 no matter what country you're in and automatically call them if you'd like to. Unfortunately for iOS, they banned us from having that feature in there now. So.
Great presentation. To support you with regard to some of the suggestions made by the judges, there's a system called Privacy by Design, with the Commissioner for Ontario and Canada, the original Commissioner, being at Ryerson. Her name is Anne. Lovely woman. There are 7 components to this, and I can connect with you after this, and I think it'll be a big part of resolving the privacy concerns. And I work with, I interface with York Regional Police, just as a citizen, to support this sort of thing. So that might help with the liability issue, as well as provide the extra services in terms of the not reliability, but the data being around longer for those who need it. I think it's amazing what you've got here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great presentation. I have a quick, my question is about the design view about the phone being mounted in a car in the middle for card sharing. Your app has to be open in order for the both photos to be sent to your location, right? So if the driver changes to Google Maps or Uber app, the photos will not be taken. Is that correct?
It will pause on taking photos. It will continue to record audio and GPS location.
What's the valuation of your company?
Pre-3 million, post 4 million.
Any other questions? How does this tie in with headsets? So if I'm wearing I know a lot of drivers tend to talk a lot on the phone and they have this set up. Does that cut the interference? Does it block anything that's going on?
We basically, this is a live question we're dealing with right now. Do you route the audio from the microphone of the device, or do you route the audio from the microphone of the phone? And with rideshare drivers, it's easy to think that their microphone is here and their phone's on the dash. But after we did more research, we realized most people with their earphone here, their phone is not in the relative area. So at that point in time, we default to recording the audio from the microphone. Yeah.
So you're going to get some doozies of a conversation recording?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that movie. Now they're going to have all of that information. We'll be able to play it back.
Hey.
What did I say yesterday at 3 o'clock? All right, any other questions? All right, thank you very much. That was great. Shift Ride, you're up.
How's everyone doing? My pitch is probably a little bit faster, and we'll see if you guys like it. So I was on a bus with my co-founder. He looked outside and said, "There's so many cars parked. Why are we taking the bus?" And that's where Shift Ride was born. Most of the cars are parked 95% of the time, while car owners pay thousands of dollars for car payments, maintenance, and insurance. And people like Bob and us spend hours per day and hundreds of dollars per month to go from one side of the city to another. At Shift Ride, we solve exactly that problem. We give everyone access to a car from car owners nearby. The process is simple. Car owners list their car on Shift Ride, and users like Bob sign up through the app, put their driver's license information, credit card, pick a car they like, and after getting all the instructions on how to get to the car, they get to drive it. All of that happens in less than 30 seconds, and our users love that. That's why they come back to use our service. During every trip, we also provide insurance that's separate from the car owners. Our in-car technology builds trust, and we provide support to all of our users. Our unique insurance policy that we developed over a year with Northridge Insurance and the government protects all of our users, and that insurance is totally separate from the car owners and covers all of the users up to $2 million. So up to now, you also realize that safety and trust are at the core of Shift Ride. That's why on the car owner side, we perform car inspection. Our in-car technology builds trust by making sure all the cars are safe on the platform, and roadside assistance is always available. On the user side, we perform driver license check, credit card check, and measure driving patterns. And reporting and rating are built into our system. To provide all of those services, we charge a $2 base fee and a 30% service fee. And that gets us, after 5 trips that most of our users take and pay $15 per trip, to $72 per month per customer. Multiply that with 1.1 million drivers in Toronto, and that's our market in Toronto, 79 million. Take that global, that's over $1 billion just for Shift Ride in an addressable market. when there's a big market, there are lots of competitors. They fall into 4 different categories. Regular car sharing companies, car sharing services provided by OEMs, peer-to-peer rental companies, and regular car rental companies. First, let's get to car sharing companies out there. They buy their cars, a huge cost, and park them in a specific location, not accessible at all. In fact, Zipcar, when they were making $180 million in revenue, they held $250 million worth of cars. With ShiftRide, we don't have that cost. Car sharing companies or car sharing services provided by OEMs, they're exactly the same as these companies. They're just provided by OEMs, which means that you have less variety of cars. Peer-to-peer rental companies are focused on long trips that you take once a month. With ShiftRide, we're focused on frequent trips within the city. And last but not least, we have other rental companies that are transforming to fall into one of the first 3 categories. So they're going to go away. Since we launched 6 months ago, we've been growing 30% month over month, making more than 10K in revenue, and with a retention rate of 45%. If that was an online platform, that would have been good. For a transportation company, that's great. We're taking that 45% all the way to 65% after we raise. I don't like charts, so I'm going to put that revenue in these formats. We're making 2.5K right now. For every 10K that comes to our company, we increase the revenue by 1K per month, which means at the end of the year, we're making 96K. Second year, we're making 2.2 million. And third year, we're making 52 million. That's with only 29,000 cars. Fun fact, there are 23 million cars in Canada only. Our Rockstar team has experience in business, design, and technology, and achieved all of those with 40K that I put into the company in SAFE. Now, we're raising $1 million in 2 batches, 400K and 600K, to finish our expansion in Kitchener-Waterloo and expand to Toronto. That means going from student market all the way to young professionals. People who are paying $70 per month, and people who already paid us over $700 per month. It means double our reach, hiring 2 more people, and expanding our iOS app all the way to Android. But last but not least, taking our 140 bookings per month that we have right now all the way to 9,000 bookings per month. With that being said, I want all of you to say goodbye to the stress of car ownership and say hello to on-demand mobility with ShiftRide. Questions?
Good job, good job. Russ, you're up.
Okay, so great presentation, and I get it, you know, the whole Uber and Airbnb and everyone's trying to figure out how to take all the stuff they already own and rent it out and sell it and make more money off it. I get that. The problem I have with something like this is that you look at Uber, you look at Airbnb, it's like yesterday they weren't here, today they've got 1 billion users, and that's a very strategic way they've done that. You cannot grow something like this 1 user at a time. So you basically need to get 1 million drivers and 1 million users immediately or no one's going to use it. And that's that's not yours specifically as a problem. That's a problem with anybody doing anything like this. You could replace cars with lawnmowers and it'd be the same thing. So I think you've got to really find out how you're going to get there. I didn't hear how the money was going to be spent. That's a concern because I think it's all going to go into marketing. I heard a lot of talk of, you know, today we've got 1 car, tomorrow we're going to have 1 billion. I can say the same thing about anything, but I didn't hear any substance of how you're going to do that, how you're going to achieve those goals. And, you know, interesting that you want $1 million in US funds, but all your launches in Canada. So, you know, seems like you want a little more than your CPA. I don't know what that is. I don't think you know what that is, but I guess you probably don't have enough users right now to truly understand that once you really get going. And also, I think it'll be interesting as we move to a more public transit world. You know, people are really focused on not, the wind chimes have played me off again. But listen, it's cool. I think you got your work cut out for you.
Like the Academy Awards. Right? You want? Go ahead.
So I have a lot of the similar points, but while we're on the slide that you're raising $1 million, I didn't get a sense of the two tranches, the 400 and 600, have they been secured, and at what valuation is that money contributing to? I agree with Russ that when you talk about $72 per month per driver, and look at all the drivers that are out there, there's $1 billion opportunity, but it really didn't give me a sense of how many of those total drivers are actually your sweet spot. There are a bunch of drivers like Tony, he's never going to be using that, but maybe others would be. So I'd like to get more delineation of exactly which drivers would fit into those numbers. Because I agree with Russ, going from 0 to hero in such a short period of time, I just like to get a better comfort feeling as you're going through that investment journey.
Not only will I use it, but you're not using my car. So I think that's one of the big things too. I think it's going to be, you might have more challenges than you think when it comes to acquiring users for the simple, not users, but cars. Because you're not using my car. It can sit there all day long. I don't care. It's mine. So the other thing I didn't get a sense of is, if you are using my car, what's in it for me? I see some issues too with, I'll use an example. If I would have used your service today and driven here, a 20-minute drive that took me an hour and 40 minutes today. So as the owner of the car, I'm sitting there waiting for you to get back, so there's an inconvenience factor. I understand it's insured too, but what ends up happening, the value of my car goes down if the car is in an accident, and because then it's registered as an accident on my car, which hurts the resale value, and the inconvenience of now being without a car. You probably have a rental agreement in there at some point, but it's on my car, right? So I think those are some of the challenges, but you're absolutely right. I mean, we're doing it in Kitchener-Waterloo. I think it's a great application for students, but I don't want students driving my car either. So, but there's an application there for sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Questions?
So my question is that how your rate is going to compete with the if the user wants to use Uber. Like maybe for a trip, it's much cheaper for me to use Uber without the hassle of driving to get there, without the requirement to get the car back to the wherever I pick up the car. So you know what I mean? Like maybe taking a Uber cab is much cheaper than taking the car and driving it.
Okay, so I got the question. So for Uber, usually we're cheaper than Uber because we're for within the city and no one's driving you, right? They think that Uber is super cheap and they brought all the prices down while someone is driving you and that person is getting paid. In this case, you're driving yourself, so that person is not getting paid, right? So within the city, we're very optimized, right? And we're not for A to B, we are for A to B to A. So if you want to go to one place and stay there for the whole day, you should probably take Uber.
Yeah, I understand you are not getting any portion for the driver, but you have to pay something to the person who's sharing his car. So still, you have to pay something to the person who's giving you the car.
Okay.
So it's the percentage that you take from each share ride.
So we take a 30% cut, and then the driver gets, or the car owner would get 60%. The other 10% goes to insurance. But time, we charge based on time and distance. Time is pretty cheap because the car was sitting over there. So whatever the car owner is making is just extra for him. So if you take it and park it somewhere else, you're not paying that much for the time that you're parking it. You're just paying for the time that you're driving it.
Okay.
I believe my question was just answered, but for trips one way, for example, like for this this meeting, it will be a few hours. So for me, for example, I have a car and I would give it away. What if somebody drives it to some weird location 50 kilometers away and just leaves it there? Who's going to pick it up and bring it to me?
So first of all, we do all this screening so we know who's driving your car, right? So no one's just going to take your car and leave it over there. But if they did, right, you probably would be able to take Uber or other services, and then that person would be able to pay for whatever method of transportation you use.
So there's, it's all built on credit card, PayPal. What's the transition so that you could get back at them if they do decide to leave your car and joyride it?
That's true.
Okay.
Is there a deposit that I would, when I give you my credit card and you're going to take my $60,000 car, do I give you a deposit?
No, so you don't put a deposit, but we have more than your money. We have your driver's license. We have all the information that you have, right?
You don't have my credit card, and I guess we're going to just falling down this path here. And also, what is the gas rate? What is the gas rate?
So because this is for short-term trips, you use your car, you gas your own car, right? So the user takes the car, goes around, brings the car back, and if he has to gas up, he gasses up. Otherwise, it's just your gas, right? And we compensate you for the gas that the other person uses. So everything is included in the service.
It's a pretty good deal. A lot of students drive for Uber, so it's another opportunity for them to have a car that can actually make them money as well.
Good presentation. I don't like people in my own personal car, so I probably wouldn't use my own car. But as a business perspective, like let's say for example, I went to Hyundai, I got 0% finance interest, and I bought a car. I was paying $200 a month. Could I actually make a profit just like buying a car and using it for your service type of thing?
Yeah, so on average, people make $400 on our platform. So some people just get a car, lease it for like $200, and then share it on our platform, make $400, and then take the other $200. But that's just a business platform.
Any other questions? Tony?
So, sorry, on the insurance portion, so you've got me covered. But at the end of the year, when I got to re-sign up my insurance, it's going to ask me how many miles did you drive this year. And if I go from a regular 10,000 kilometers a year, and now I've put 25,000 on, my insurance rate changes. How are you going to compensate the drivers for the additional fee paid on an annual basis for that? Or is the fee that they get for the service supposed to offset that? Because it can be a fairly big nut. It also changes. So if I drive to and from work, I pay one rate. But if I drive for work, it's a much higher rate. So does that change somebody's classification on their insurance if they're using this as a business?
So no one would be able to use your car on ShiftRide for business. It's only personal use. But at the end of the year, first of all, if your insurance company does that, talk to them, change it, because the best insurance companies shouldn't do that, right? And there are 3 big insurance companies in Canada, Intact, Northbridge, and Aviva, and so Intact already does this, Northbridge already does this. So these companies, they already know. So if you talk to them that you're using ShiftRide or another company called Turo, they would be totally fine with that. Even Aviva knows about it, so it's just a matter of you telling your insurance company that this is what happened.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, we kind of switched some things around. So the next thing we're going to do is we have a question, and the question we have for the angels to provide is: what if a big opportunity comes at my startup? Should I drop everything to hit it, or should I push it off in hopes to be better prepared and pick it up in 4 months? What do you guys think? Who wants to go first? Angelo.
I'm really greedy, so book it, satisfy it, generate the money, and create profit as soon as possible.
I mean, it's a bit of a loaded question. It depends on what you're doing in your startup and where you're going. I like to sort of steady the course and right the ship and keep going, but a good opportunity is a good opportunity. But, the thing is, if you jump on something and it is too good to be true, you could risk losing both. So I guess it depends on how hungry you are and how sure you are with what you're doing. It's a loaded question because I've done both. And I've had them both work, and I've had them both fail. So yeah, I don't know. You gotta be a risk taker to be going into a startup. So you gotta be willing to do that. You gotta be willing to drop everything and go for the bigger fish at any moment.
I agree here. There's sometimes if you hit it, you might be selling yourself short. If you wait a little bit better, a little bit longer, you know, your organization, you're better prepared. You understand what you're doing, what you're going, and in that short time frame, something else might actually come up that positions you better to move forward. So, you know, sometimes it's short-term pain for long-term gain. It depends what you want to do, really.
Just to add another 2 cents in there. The biggest, if it is a huge opportunity, right, and it's a good opportunity, I agree. You want to be able to satisfy that opportunity to the nth degree, but by pushing it off and sort of saying, well, I'm going to make this really rock solid and then go back in 4 months, these big opportunities move on very quickly. So you may not be able to go back and turn around and say, hey, remember I didn't have that real solution for you, but now I really got it. They'll say, thanks, but I went to Tony. He drives 40,000 kilometers a year, and, and he gets it. So that's the only downside by waiting.
Okay. No, and you know what? It's good insight, because at the end of the day, you have to make a choice. And I think where we're coming from, and these questions, they just hit me. I don't even know how they do it, but they just pop in my head. But at the end of the day, the thing is that you're an entrepreneur, you're a risk taker. You can mitigate risk, which probably doesn't make you so much of an entrepreneur. You can mitigate it by risk factors. Am I going all in? Am I taking my time? How do I want to grow? You have to analyze every opportunity, because at the end of the day, every opportunity might not come back. So, and it might come back, but it might come different. And you might not be happy with the difference. So you have to decide at the time, and if you're going to do it, put your damn foot forward and go fast, because you don't really have a choice. And I'm sure we've all done it when we've made irrational choices in 10 seconds. Well, in this case, you don't have 10 seconds. You've probably got some time to think about it. But if you're going to go forward the best you possibly can. And it really does come down to mitigating risk. And some have more and some have less. And I can tell you I've made a lot of dumb mistakes because I have a very low risk tolerance. But I also know that I got the end goal in mind, so that's what you have to go for. So it's just food for thought. Thought it would be something interesting to talk about. And the last segment of what we do before Lucas gets up and chats is, how many of you guys are startups? How many of you guys are entrepreneurs? Everybody, put your hands up. Man, come on, you guys can't have that bad a BO right now. What time is it, 7? Let's go. All right, so what we're going to do is elevator pitch, 30 seconds. So if you guys have a business, we'll take the first 3 up, except for the people that have already pitched, unless you guys want to do your elevator pitch again. But 3 startups, come on up, introduce yourself, talk about your business, and you got 30 seconds to do it. And you know what? This is your risk factor. Do I do this and get seen or not? Come on up, man. 30 seconds, come on, yeah, don't wave. I said come on up. Yeah, you want me to come pick you up and carry you over? Let's go. One more. Only because I know what he does, so he's coming up to talk. Actually, Kim, why don't you come up and do your elevator pitch? Yes, come on, let's go. We're offsetting this. 4 guys, come on. 3 and 1 girl. And you're starting.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kim. I'm working on a mobile application that helps to connect beauty professionals with clients, simplifying the process for clients to search for beauty services such as hairdressers and barbers. And the way that we connect the clients is providing them with the portfolios that generally most websites do not provide you with currently. Thank you.
And your name is?
Kim.
And your business is?
Butte.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Ziad, and I am the owner for ZZ Collective. We just launched. I make lamps, both ceiling and table lamps, made with all-natural wood. We have put it with LED lighting, and we have our approval. So, yeah, we just launched, and we're just coming out now.
And your name is?
Ziad Ansari.
And it's a sick product, too.
Hey everyone, my name is Armin. I'm the founder of Node. We are an influencer marketing platform that's also a mobile application. Basically what we do is empower local restaurants and bars by connecting them with influential content creators in their city. So basically if you have a lot of Instagram followers and you create beautiful content, you could redeem free offers and free items if you go into local restaurants, take a photo, and share your experience online. And we'll be launching next month, so look for us on Instagram and join our email list for updates. Armin.
Hello, my name is Anthony Redoblato. I'm the founder of Imaginex Games, building a central social esports platform called Dreamplay. So far, we built the platform, we got 2,000 users, 92% market validation, closing a partnership with Cineplex and Red Bull, and today I just talked to the NBA about getting them involved with their NBA 2K League. Anthony Redoblato.
Awesome, hand for these guys for taking it and coming up here and going quick. I like it. Thank you, guys. All right, Lucas, you're up. Lucas is on open time watch. He can just talk as he needs.
So, as a beginning, it'd be kind of interesting if all the clients on ShiftRide had a CMAP automatically to record it, so the insurance issues be resolved. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about Startup York, and I'll keep this relatively. It's kind of talking on its own, isn't it? Okay. What are we? So Startup York is a not-for-profit organization. It's a community of entrepreneurs. Our purpose is to exist with other ecosystem partners such as the Richmond Hill Small Business Enterprise Center, Y-Space, Seneca, OPN, and connect entrepreneurs in forums where we get to meet each other. I don't know why this is doing its own thing. So, just do that. Okay, so we run a couple of, so we're volunteer run. We are one of several, this is really getting irritating. Here, let's just go. Yeah, you know what it probably is PowerPoint's rebelling against me. Just increase the size. Yeah. No, I think this is payback is what it is. So, yeah, so the volunteer thing. So we run 1 to 2 events every month, and the purpose of it really is to connect entrepreneurs and people who are thinking about it, people who support them in a no pitch, no sales environment. So we do partner with organizations, like I said, like with the OPN, like with Y-Space, like the York Angels, and we run events so that it's not about just us doing the events, it's about bringing entrepreneurs together and meeting others and meeting supporters and meeting opportunity. So if you want more information about us, there's all of the information about events, things that we're involved with, as well as connecting into other organizations doing things. Our website is startupyork.ca. So you can go there, get a sense of what services are available, or not by us necessarily, but within the York region. So this slide depicts the organizations in the region that help entrepreneurs. Some of you have seen this before. Many of these will support not just York region entrepreneurs, but those from outside the borders. So for example, the York Angel Investors, monthly meetings are held within Markham, but as you've heard, startups from across the GTA, Peel, Durham, York, and elsewhere will come here and speak with the York Angels. So Angelo is one of the members, and you've heard Frank and JP and others are also York Angel members. If you're an organization looking for a bit more help to get started, to build some momentum, Alex is back there from the Richmond Hill Small Business Enterprise Center. He represents one of 4 in York region. Markham, Vaughan, and Newmarket are the others. So the long and short of this is that if you are looking to start, grow, fund, scale your business in this region, there are a lot of resources here. If you want access to it, on the Startup York website, there's an overview of what all of these things do, all these organizations do. It's also difficult sometimes to know what's happening in a region as far as events. There was a time when I started on my own 5 years ago, I didn't think things were really happening. There weren't a lot of events. The challenge I find now is that if you're an entrepreneur or an innovator looking for others, there's too many events. So we've got a calendar going that's free. You can subscribe to it. It's off of Google, also off of the website. So if you want to know when the next PitchIt is, or when something's happening at Seneca Helix, or something that's happening at YU, this is a place to go. The hope is that as we build more connections, that this will become kind of that one-stop shop. So it's free to subscribe, and you can download it directly to your phone. And that's kind of all I want to chat about. If you want more information about us, the website's there, but also I'm going to give a shout out to JP and his team. So there's some information about OPN. So if you got any questions, let me know.
Can you tell me about that awesome app you have on funding?
Yeah, so Angelo, so a while ago we worked with one of the software startups in York Region to build an app that took a lot of the overview information and put it into an iPhone. The reason it's iPhone, not Android, is a whole other story. So if you have an iPhone, take a look up in the App Store. It's called York Region Entrepreneur Support, YRES. It's free to download.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Any other questions? Cool. Yeah. York, YRES, as in York Region Entrepreneur Support. Oh, as in the startup communities? Yeah, okay, so there's a pan-Canadian organization called Startup Canada. It's a funded not-for-profit based out of Ottawa, and they kind of have a couple of things that they do. One is they're working with federal and provincial politicians to make the environment friendlier for startups. So they do a lot of lobbying and a lot of governmental relations. The other thing they do is they have about 50-ish communities like Startup York, like Startup Durham, Startup Peel, and so forth across the country. And the idea, like I said earlier, is to bring together entrepreneurs. So if you are looking for communities to join of entrepreneurs, look up Startup Canada. I will say on behalf of Startup Durham and Startup York, if anyone's interested to kind of just come out and meet entrepreneurs, talk to us. You're all welcome. The whole idea is to connect. So I don't think, neither of us check utility bills, credit card bills, unless you want to give us money for where you're coming from. So you're welcome to any of the things we do. Any other questions? Okay, JP, back to you.
Awesome, thank you, sir. All right, guys, we're gonna do a draw. It's for the T-shirt. You get to pick. If you pick your own card, then it's okay. Well, look at that. David, winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Well, David, I believe you are one of our biggest fans, so you get a T-shirt. So, oh, it's water this time. Even better. So, from David, you get a case of Flow water. So, Flow asked us to say they wanted to sponsor the event, but they also wanted to be able to participate a bit more. So, you actually get a case of water. So, that's pretty cool. And you don't get a T-shirt then. So let's do a draw for a T-shirt because that makes it cooler. Then you get to pick again. It'll be a male T-shirt. You'll have to send it to. Almost. Drew Henson. So one of our startups, now a bigger fan. Yes. Awesome. What's that? Well, I'm in for that. I'll wear one of those shirts. Damn, yeah, that's awesome. I'll take two. All right, guys, thank you very much for coming. I thank all of you for coming out. So big round of applause for all of you for making the way here. Thank you. I'm going to work on my pacing because I didn't help at all putting this bottle on the ground. So that'll be my homework. But thank you, the Angels. Thank you for all the sponsors, partners, and everybody else that's helped out. Grab yourself a bottle of water, network, meet some people, and we'll see you guys next week at PitchIt. Thank you.